Well, howdy, howdy, howdy. Nearly. Finally. Senior citizen here. Greetings, boys, girls, and all of our non-binary friends, and welcome to this. More Disco Elysium. Or Elysium. One day I can figure out and just stick with that pronunciation. Anyway, last episode I had expressed some worries because I didn't know what to do. As in, I thought I'd gone through and exhausted everything that was here, but somebody did remind me in comments I haven't checked over here yet. Not main menu, but over here, this way. And apparently these, at least one of these, they're not all exhausted yet. So I'll double check these
first. This coin-operated viewer is facing south. It has given up all its secrets. There seems to be a sunken sea fort on the islet in the bay.
Yeah, it's given up all of its secrets. Okay, well, I don't know then. Well, no, click that.
This coin-operated viewer is facing southwest. Its coin slot is full of fossilite.
Yeah, I don't know. That's okay, though. So we'll check. Did I check in the garbage can already? Well, still, we'll check it this way first. Maybe there are... Oh, itchy nose. Okay. There's this. Oh, Lonely Cormorant. Well, hello, Lonely Cormorant. I see that you are indifferent to our approach. And apparently... Well, I'll worry about that in a minute. Apparently, you... Like in this, you right-click? Oh, you do right-click to put them on and take them off. Probably the same with tools and items. Okay, very cool. We're learning things. It's almost like I am an intelligent human being. Oh, really? There's money? Oh, just, I can make some money. Okay, what's going on over here? Is that a sign on the side of the building? Or?
This is a wall on the side of an apartment building.
Why am I looking at this wall? I don't know if this later on is an actual plot point, but if this is the only thing that ever comes up because of this wall, these points alone make this game worth the price of admission. That is beautiful. I am not even going to hurt myself trying. I don't mind trying to steal the money though. Oh really, the Kuno S is over there. Well, I'm not going to talk to the Kuno S, at least at this moment. Or at least try, since that person has been exceptionally unpleasant. Okay, let's go over here and take a look. Run. Oh, just roads. Okay. Yep, okay. More.
Hey, up here, piggo.
What? I don't even know what that is or what's going on. I can't really tell. Okay.
Yeah, you better keep walking.
Is this, I can't even see. Is this person talking to me? Yeah, okay. Well, we'll get there. I have no idea what's happening. Who's yammering at me? Ah, okay, someone up there. Okay, give me just a minute there, person. Can I yell up at you, or am I going to be climbing up there somehow?
The streets will flow red once more. A great torrent rushing down Rue de Esperance. You wait and see.
The streets will not flow red with anything. Who are you?
They might flow red with Kool-Aid. Or cheap wine.
I'm Cindy the fucking Skull. What else do you want to know? Date of birth, blood type, the last time I was tested for Hep C.
That might help, but... Try, think, still got this hangover. No, we just want to know your name.
And here I was trying to be polite. Just can't win with you pigs.
I thought
brush,
everyone was.
an artist. The red splatter is urban expressionism.
Do you know anything about the recent murder?
I ain't no snitch, pigstein. Go forth and forage in someone else's shit. No shortage of squealers in these parts.
Actually, there is a shortage of people who talk to us in a normal,
Thank you, Kim.
calm, informative manner.
It's the Agi part at the end. I don't know why my mouth just hits that. Kitsuragi? Was that the way that they pronounced it in the beginning?
We weren't put on this earth to make your life pleasant, fucko.
That may well be true. What are you doing to the wall?
Can't you tell? I'm painting a beautiful mural, an aereo graffitio visible from low orbit. I haven't really started it yet. I'm waiting for the right words.
So you don't know what to write?
Have you ever tried your hand at graffitio? When faced with a blank wall, most people write unimaginative stuff, like pigs go home and Mona was here.
I personally have never actually done anything like that, so I don't know. I've never tried my hand at it.
We rarely see pigs round here, though. Just union cats. And my name's not Mona, so...
Well, we know the answer of what she's doing, so... why not?
This place is severely lacking in havoc. Not even the occasional trash can fire to break up the tedium.
That's probably a good thing in this place.
I thought I'd mix it up, you know. Summon the forces of crime and social chaos with a wall-sized invitation.
I
Yeah?
keep doing what you're doing.
Thanks. I'm sure the inspiration will come to me now that I have an official RCM stamp of approval.
It
She
might.
means the opposite.
Well, you know, at least I got rhetoric to help me out there.
The lieutenant
not?
furrows his brow at another one of your eccentricisms.
But I didn't catch exactly what it said, only I know it had nothing to do with here. Huh.
Hatred, disgust. It's difficult to tell which of the two is more present in her girlish features. The woman on the boat does not notice her staring.
Indeed.
That
Joyce.
is on her. Someone's got to keep an eye on her.
Ozon is an archipelago 2 days' travel away from Rivershore. Its moneyed residents, used to posh restaurants and upscale boutiques, rarely have reason to visit Martinez.
I finally figured out a way to pronounce that. To remember how to pronounce that. Mayonnaise. That sounds exactly like mayonnaise.
Probably the Wild Pines rep. We should talk to her. She's a professional negotiator, though. I have the feeling she will be very cooperative while telling us nothing.
Isn't that always special?
You should take the lead. Ask her unexpected questions, you know? Do your thing. Don't be afraid to get a bit wacky. Throwing her off is our best bet.
This is the game's letting me know that it's time to go off the rails there. Now, I am not against going off the rails. It just has to fit, for me, what I feel is the best character and time. The character is going to go off the rails on their own without my help, and I'm going to choose times to go off the rails, as I've done. So, having the game tell me, go off the rails.
Good idea, piggies. Run along now. Fuck her shit up good. Impound that boat while you're at it. I'd like to watch her swim back to us on.
I'm never going to be able to edit out all the swearing. I know a lot of other video people that make them, but I think they have editors, and I simply do not have it within me to be able to go through and bleep out all that. So I bet I'm going to be demonetized for all this.
Watch your back, Ungulate. You've got eyes on you.
That's fine. I don't mind the eyes, but I am no ungulate. Alrighty. Well, then I don't necessarily want to go in here. But what's that then? I didn't get anything out of it. Is it a... Did I put things into it? I don't know. And I don't want to go in here if I don't... And I still have things in the hotel. I got to get my shoe off that balcony. But I guess first we'll do this. Oh, I could have run down here for that. How about you come over here instead? Okay, well that's cool. How about this then for now? Okay, well that's cool. Well, I need to look at this up here. I thought I could, but I was wrong. Oh. I don't know that I'd want to drive on that myself. But let's... let's give her a try. Oh, nope, stop. Well, I bet that... Oh, go pick up the bottles. Tickle. Tickle. Kim? Look. Tickle. Okay.
A striking woman leans against the cabin top of her sailing boat, smiling as you approach. Her green raincoat glistens with droplets. A silk scarf is tied around her throat.
Apparently
Good afternoon, officers. I'm Joyce.
Very good.
Joyce L. Messier. I represent the board of Wild Pines, the owners of the harbour. You gentlemen must be from the RCM.
Now she holds her hand out in greeting. I'm gonna start off polite.
I'm glad to see you here.
Like
Okay.
steel, there is strength there. If she wanted, she could sink her nails deep into your skin.
That's special then,
I was
isn't it?
dispatched to handle a strike, not a lynching. Anything I can do to assist the RCM in this matter, I will, gladly.
That is good to hear, madame. My colleague will take the lead on this interview. I should let you know that he is recovering from an unusual medical episode. Very unusual. But I can assure you of his ultimate competency.
You see, this is why I feel a huge urge not to actually disappoint this fellow. Even though I know he's just a computer character, lines of code. In the relative to the game setting, I do not want to disappoint him.
There's a trace of irony in his voice. Mischief, even. This is a tactic.
Okay, time to go off the rails.
This happens quicker than a shooting star. But did the lieutenant just wink at you?
Maybe.
How interesting. I wish you a swift recovery. In the meanwhile, you have my full cooperation, and the full cooperation of the Wild Pines Group.
Do you know something about these tattoos?
That's the man who was killed. I'm afraid this is a discussion for once we've cleared the lynching question.
Why? How is he looking at the photo tied to
Better
the
not
lynching?
tie the fourth day to the bat's day on this. I hope there is something else I can help you with.
Uh-huh. Tell me about Wild Pines. What do you do?
We do. I'm afraid I don't speak for Wild Pines as a whole. It's a giant undertaking.
There was a touch of discomfort there. She wants to merely represent.
So what do they
The
do?
Pines' core competency is logistics. Container shipping, freight, that sort of thing. See those airships there, blinking? Those are the shipping side of things. And that
Okay.
is the terminal. Another subdivision deals with energy, oil and gas exploration, offshore platforms.
The Wild Pines Group is one of the original Revacholian Indo-tribes. Companies awarded royal monopolies by the king, the suzerain himself, centuries ago. The king is long gone, but several of the Indo-tribes remain.
Well, who are the other Indo-tribes?
Jean-Baptiste, ELYSIUM, an unknown entity known as Brightest Star.
You're in good company,
Why,
it
thank you.
seems. How much money does Wild Pines
I'm not
have?
at liberty to discuss the company balance sheet, but I can tell you that last year the company booked more than 20 billion real in revenue.
The money I owe is so
Yes,
much
past a
less than
certain
that.
point, numbers begin to seem imaginary, but they are quite real for the 72,000 employees who depend on Wild
Sorry
Pines
about
for
the
their
loudness
paychecks.
of the... I live by a major road, and there's a hospital very close, so there's a lot of emergency vehicle traffic. I
A
imagine that
conglomerate
may
the
well be
size
true.
of Wild Pines is like a shark. If it stops moving and growing, it will die. Then what becomes of those 72,000 families? It is a tremendous responsibility.
Well, where does Wild Pines get all those
They
billions?
started as an exploration and cargo fleet conducting trade between the Samoan and Insulindian Islas 250 years ago, when pine ships explored
I
the
can feel
South
my eyes
Simonese and
glazing
charted
over.
Lomantang on behalf of the
And
suzerain.
I don't even have an actual hangover.
Centuries of care, deliberation, and madness have gone into this endeavor. Vessels pass through the great unrest to
Oh.
re-emerge with apricots in tow. The logic of the system is totalizing. It's taken everything from its employees to build it.
What does such a huge system want with
You
a
mean
place
aside
like
from
this?
being the terminal's legal owners, who are responsible for moving 8% of the world's cargo?
Well, you don't keep it moving. The workers do. The company is nothing without them.
We built this district.
We. There it is. She owns up to it.
All the best parts of it. Rue de Saint-Ghislain,
Yeah.
with its bastions. The plazas, Meteor and Mosaic. Even some of the old street lamps have been put back thanks to the investments from the WP. Before Martinez was swallowed by the industrial harbour, even before it was part of Revachol, long before Terminal B was erected here, the Pines built it as a resort for its Revacholian employees.
Well, how special, la-dee-da.
A company getaway, for a weekend or a summer holiday. Then came the revolution. But that's another matter.
Yes, it is.
I'm here to make sure the Pines can fulfill their responsibilities to the place they built.
What can you tell me about this strike?
Everything. Right up
I
to,
wish
but not
I'd
including
clicked on
trade
the
secrets.
"Can you tell me about reality" button. I didn't even see that until it was too late. Well, what if I want to hear about trade
First,
secrets?
you'd have to repeal the Emergencies Act of Trade and Aliments. That gives me the right to silence. It's quite the octopus.
Well, I didn't say I wanted to do that. I just wanted to talk
The
about them.
octopus that straddles Revachol, the Emergencies Act, is the cornerstone of post-war Revachol, inseparable from the world it created.
Well, I wouldn't want to disturb an
I'm
octopus.
glad you see it that way. To repeal the Act would mean repealing the coalition government, the one that leases you the right to police West Revachol.
You'd be shooting yourself in the foot, in other words.
Well,
But
yeah,
I
but
am
I'm not going to be able to do
You wanted
anything.
to know about the strike.
Well, what is your role?
I
in this
believe the
precisely?
official title is Senior Labour Negotiator. In practice, I'm a grocery clerk. I
Oh,
relay the union's
right.
demands to Wild Pines and return with Wild Pines' counteroffer.
Uh-huh.
And how are the talks going?
They're not. That's the problem. The union stopped all negotiations a week ago, after that awful lynching took place.
Well, yeah.
Wait, she just admitted that the lynching and the strike are connected.
Okay.
Now they won't even let me
okay.
into the harbour. There's a 2-metre 20 racist behemoth blocking the gates.
You know, I've already been there, but what the heck?
What can I say? The union employs a giant covered in tattoos. A racist giant. I guess that's part of their big tent
Is that the guy that's
organisation
dead?
now.
So the strike is connected to the
Yes,
lynching.
I believe there is a connection. But that's a subject for later.
Well, how were the talks going?
Let's say
before?
I was not making the kind of progress I'd hoped for when I first arrived.
And when did you first arrive?
I arrived 3 weeks ago. Yes, in the middle of February. The bay was still partially frozen then. I prefer to do these things on site, like the RCM.
But the strike began in December.
I wasn't the original negotiator here. I took over after Mr. Gaumont hit a wall with Mr. Clare, the union boss. Mr. Clare refused to speak with Gaumont despite concessions he'd granted the union in prior negotiations.
This isn't the first time the union has gone on strike.
Heavens no. There have been 2 prior strikes.
Well, well,
Both
well.
times the union won significant concessions, including overtime pay and a medical plan. This time their demands are more, I guess you could say, aggressive.
Ludicrous.
Well, what are their
even.
demands?
It's meant.
Well, yeah. What are their demands?
There are leaflets everywhere, and banners. What did they say again? Oh yes. Every worker, a member of the board.
Most of the workers probably don't know what that means.
Huh. Seems like they have no idea about business.
In its defense, another said, demand democracy. Pretty tame stuff compared to every worker, a member of the board.
Most of them probably don't even know what that
Fortunately,
means.
they explained it. Every time the Wild Pines group makes a decision about anything, it needs the signature of each of the 2,200 workers in its Martinez terminal. Just
That
so
ain't
you
gonna work.
understand, this is but one of 22 terminals owned by Wild Pines. Essentially, not only are they kings of the company, they are also kings of the 72,000 employees of Wild Pines Group.
Huh.
I'm not sure.
Well, what are you going to do?
Naturally, I assume that was just their opening position. A
I'm actually.
hard-nosed tactic
There's been
with a
no
side of
opportunity
mockery.
to really go off
But
the
there's been no
rails.
follow-up, just the same nonsensical slogan repeated. And now, people are getting lynched, I hear.
Yeah.
Behind the whirling in rags. A disastrous situation if...
Excuse me, from whom did you hear about this lynching?
Oh, Kim, you're too good.
I first heard it from the boyer at the gates. The one whose very name advertises his aversion to work. I think he said it was, call me mañana.
Indeed.
This checks out.
The scabs at the gate, did you put them there?
The scabs? You mean the huddled masses of Jamrock, come to plead for work where the union refuses to?
Don't let her answer it herself.
No, I mean... Well, we'll go like this. Let's call them strikebreakers.
If these strikebreakers were organized by Wild Pines or its affiliates, then it would be a company secret. I could not share it with you. Not yet, at least.
It's implied.
Indeed.
She's open to discussing this
Okay.
matter with you at a
Alrighty.
later occasion.
I mean, we might as well.
Mr. Clare told him to... How did he put it? Fuck off, midget. Gaumont is short of stature, you see.
I shouldn't laugh at this. I'm laughing at the situation. I'm not laughing at what is said, just the fact that he's so rude. Because that is not a good thing to say. That is not good. Okay, then.
Yes. Keep in mind, this is a negotiator Mr. Clare has worked with before.
Well, tell me about Mr. Clare.
Everard Clare is a man of the utmost integrity. If you can say one thing about him, it's that he always puts the interests of the workers first.
God, that's loud. I am so sorry that there is this emergency vehicle going by.
Of course not. Everard is fantastically corrupt. I imagine he has a thick, viscous goo where you and I have blood.
Indeed.
If you were to prick it with something sharp, you could see it oozing out. A knife, maybe? No, a rapier.
Hey, you never know.
Oh, heavens no. We get along just fine. Yet, now that you mention it, I can't stop imagining that black treacle just dribbling down his double chin.
Say nothing.
He is the most corrupt individual I have ever seen, and I deal with men like him for a living. If there is anyone more venal, more irredeemably nepotistic, then it's his twin brother, Edgar.
There are two of them?
Edgar looks exactly like his brother, except for that lazy eye. He also talks exactly like Everard does, and when one's term as foreman is up, the other takes over. It's how they circumvent the term limits, you see, with a funny little switcheroo. While in office, they've embezzled God knows how much of their workers' dues.
Well, how about the union itself?
The Demonetized Union was once a perfectly normal institution. 20 years ago, anyway. It must not have been easy to establish under the Emergency Act, but they did
God,
it.
all the
I can respect
vehicles
that.
Out there, it's crazy.
Organised labour at its best, as they say. Then something happened in the local chapter elections.
Alrighty.
The brothers Clare came and transformed it into
a mob. The debardeurs are a crime syndicate. Sad as it may be, I suspect we'll be forced to cooperate with them.
Refreshingly honest, officer. The company has tried appeasing in the past, but I'm afraid our concessions have only emboldened Everard and his brother. And your opinion, detective, if I may ask? I'm a curious and talkative person, you see. Would you say the Debardeurs Union is...
You are not. Oh, boy. You know, I actually don't know. But I guess it doesn't matter what I tell her. It's a giant leech.
Indeed. And a hungry one. Sadly, Wild Pines have cooperated with what amounts to a crime syndicate for 2 decades. However much you feed the leech always hungers.
I am so sorry. I don't know what is going on outside. That has been an insane amount of emergency vehicles going by. Said something happened?
I'm glad you asked. There was a woman, the previous forewoman of the union. She disappeared.
Disappeared?
Yes. On the last day of the local chapter elections, her daughter phoned in and said she wasn't running anymore, or coming to work. Ever. End of story.
This forewoman, her name?
Sadly, the company records do not even give a name. She's just forewoman in private correspondence. Holly. I don't even know if it's a sir or given name, and I don't have access to the union's files.
Extortion.
Indeed. The company suspects foul play, but there's nothing they could do. It was a union matter. The point of the presentation is, these kinds of things happen around the Clares. Watch out when you're dealing with him.
Thank you for your concern, ma'am. We'll be just fine.
Well, that's all I need
Of
here.
course.
Let's change the subject.
How else can I help?
Well... Oh, well, no. Sure.
This reality.
Yes, Reality is your side case. And experimental side case.
Apparently. You know what? I mean, well, he did say, I do have an interesting disease.
No, but please, a little context. We're not in such a hurry.
We have time for you to tell me why you need a reality lowdown.
We have time? Okay. I am conducting a personal investigation into the world I find myself in.
How truly curious. A sort of philosopher detective.
My theory is that this inquiry into the nature of reality will ultimately converge with our murder investigation. They are really one and the same.
Are they now?
Yes?
A deep synthesis. I'll assist you however I can then. Go ahead. Ask.
Okay, okay. Ask one. Okay.
All right,
I'm being
we're in.
encouraged.
I know these all look good, but begin with the first, okay?
What is, oh. Okay, so... What is this?
A bird? A sphenicid? A flightless bird of the polar regions?
Am I really that awkward?
Of course you're not, my dear. I'm just terrible at guessing games.
I mean, what is this place
Ah.
here?
This is the pier of Rue de Saint-Ghislain, 33A, where the tenants have been kind enough to rent me a slot. Or two. A pre-revolutionary tenement. Old buildings are called tenements, you see. And new buildings, bâtiments. After les bâtiments nouveaux. But
Bâtiment.
33A and 33B are not nouveaux. They're old. This
Apparently.
one used to be 8 to 10 stories tall. A real high-rise by the standards of the last century. Built to mirror the skyscrapers across the bay in the Delta. That was before the war, of course.
Well, who lives
Mostly
in
the
it?
urban middle class, I believe. This was once primo real estate, before the cannons lopped 4 or 5 stories off.
Ouch.
Splat, splat.
You could be wrong, but from here it appears as if she's running
She
a
probably
brush
is.
across her throat in a sort.
Wonderful.
Probably is. What is that?
The girl in the old lady rags.
Yes.
Looks like a sullen and rebellious member of a teen infraculture.
Infraculture?
Yes, you and I belong to the supraculture. We're common, the herd. The music on the radio, the
I
food in the chain
do
restaurant.
not
Those are all too
believe
popular
that
for the
you
girl
think
in the
you're
old lady
common at
rags.
all.
She prefers a fantasy world, an infraculture with its own dress code and vernacular. It is an illusion, I'm afraid. There is no refuge from the supraculture. Young people who dye their hair
Which
funny
one did I-
colours and
oh,
wear
I
old
didn't mean to do
people's
that. I wanted to
clothes
hit the
are
other one,
stupid,
actually.
And their little rebellion is self-defeating. All right, what next?
Suddenly, you're not so sure you're part of the supraculture.
I think I may be part of an infraculture.
And what would that be?
Cop.
She lets out an unrestrained laugh, the crow's feet stretching onto her cheeks.
Maybe
My
not?
reality impaired colleague is not so far off.
Ooh.
Many of the RCM's fashions, even weapon preferences, borrow heavily from classic Vespertine cop shows. My precinct alone has 3 officers who go by the name Ace.
Well,
But
well.
please, do continue this reality exploration. I was just remarking.
Yes,
I imagine you were.
let's.
What times are these?
These are Unimportant times, Detective. You and I were born after the dust had settled. 1,000th of a second too late.
Too late for what?
For the big time.
Ooh.
The revolution.
And what is this revolution I keep hearing
It's
about?
quite easy. Every 100 years or so, our species gets together to decide what's next, who gets shot in the head, and who gets the mineral rights. It's a real kerfuffle.
When was this kerfuffle?
Turn of the century revolution? Don't answer it. It's a trick question. The revolution began in '02 on the Isla of Grad,
Yep.
though by the end, nearly the whole world had gotten involved.
Well, who started it?
It wasn't a who, but a what. A pandemic of Zarat, a particularly virulent prion disease,
Ooh.
which the authorities in Grad proved unable to contain. Then Marzolf came along and overthrew the government.
Prions are nasty.
It made people overthrow their governments.
No way.
Indeed. Zarat is a highly infectious microorganism that destroyed brain tissue. The actual causes of the revolution were material. The pandemic only provided the spark.
It was a funny time in history.
Oh, well.
They discovered transistors and rock music, but they didn't know anything about prions.
Well, how
Nobody
could they?
did.
From Revachol
spreading?
and Grad? Not far. The world managed to cauterize itself. Marzolf's government was overthrown in '08, and the coalition crushed the Revachol commune 2 years later.
Oh.
It was the end.
Yeah, but what came next? Which one was it? What was that clicking and beeping about? What did I learn here? I mean, what was lighting up for this? Wasn't any of this. Wrong solution. Solution? Yeah, there's no solution. I don't. There must be something I am missing on this page. Well, what came next?
Why? You and I, officer. Our lives in the zone of control.
Well, what happened in the rest of
Modernity.
the world?
They developed the marvels of the inter-estuary communication. Telematic milieus, radiation, coloured plastics.
Oh,
Meanwhile, in Revachol West, the aftermath continues for the 5th decade.
51 minus 8 equals 43.
you're saying it's been like this for 43
Time
years? Well, what have you been doing
The
all that time?
20s saw a decade of urban war, west of the river levelled, offshore platforms in flames. Still, it's regarded as an improvement on what came before. '08 to '19 was simply hell.
I mean, there's
The
a lot
30s.
of exposition,
Things settled down in the 30s.
but
Revachol East transformed itself into the world's largest tax haven.
Ah.
With the international...
were
No,
they?
It was a market mirage fueled by cocaine and quantitative easing. The 40s dispelled it like a cold splash. An Isla-wide hangover, you might say. And welcome
Here we
to
are.
reality, baby.
Okay, skill point. But I guess, did that get done entirely? Oh, reality low done. It did. Okay. I have a skill point to spend. You know what? I want to not die. So I'm going to put it into endurance. Maybe that's foolish. But I wanted to, like, live a little longer. Oh, no. Did it work? I didn't want to... I didn't even see what that said. Okay. Welcome to reality.
For her to be where she is, Wild Pines Group
Yeah.
must have picked the right side.
Which side was Wild Pines
They
Group
picked
on?
the winning side. That's why they're here, and others are not.
They got lucky?
Perhaps it wouldn't have turned out that way had I been in charge. I might have bet on the king and led the Pines to doom.
You would have sided
I would
with
have
the
sided
king.
with the cannons. If you'd seen the calibers of the things, you might have too. Perhaps it's better I was born when I was. 10
well
of the
be.
14 Indo tribes got it wrong. Feld,
Ooh.
Kupri, Tricentennial. So I suppose I would have been in good company.
Well, who got shot in the
Those would
head?
be the communists. Generally speaking, 40 million people got shot in the head during the World Revolution. But the communists, they all got shot in the head.
Well,
Oh, and the anarchists too. They shot them well. So well, one forgets they even existed.
She likes
How
the
special.
totality of it.
Indeed. They piled them in mass graves in Ozon. And, well, that's the last anyone heard of those people. Did they
did
ever?
they shoot back?
Before they got shot themselves, they shot 2 million people.
Yeah, truly a kerfuffle.
Yeah, it was a kerfuffle, all right.
Yes.
Yeah.
The Insulindian deluge, they call it.
Anyone else get shot in the head on the opposing
lots of
side?
people. Even the king got shot in the head, or thrown beneath a horse, or drowned. Accounts
Oh
differ.
my god.
It was unceremonious. Just
Again.
as well, he wasn't actually the king. Just the king's nephew.
I am sorry that there's been so much emergency traffic outside.
The real
Okay.
king abdicated and lived out a long
Oh,
and
of
productive
course.
life as a venture capitalist in Grad.
Cowardly king.
I prefer the term risk-averse. King Guillaume was nobody's fool. He could smell a PR disaster brewing,
Yeah.
so he got out alive, and his nephew Fricelle got shot in his place.
Cowardly doesn't necessarily mean stupid.
Him and tens of thousands of his wonderfully fascist kingsmen. It was a wild time.
Well, what would you
Good
have
question.
done differently?
What would you have done differently?
I'm supposed to... I would have killed more.
I see. A tenth of humanity. The key of history is in the lock.
I'm just trying to see
Turning
what
at
she
any
says.
cost.
These answers are not the way I feel. But... Really? Oh boy, I walked my way into an area. Wow, what the heck?
Past. That's what de Briever, the leader of the communards, said, before she got a bullet in her head. Don't get me wrong. Capital is finished. But understand this. Its end won't free anyone. It will only lead to more suffering.
Everything always does.
Opinions expressed here do not reflect the official position of the RCM.
And what is your official position,
It's
Lieutenant?
not even my official.
My position, ma'am? My parents got ripped to shreds in the revolution. I would have gone the same way. I was saved by being 2 years old. That's my position. The abattoir.
Yeah,
Understandable.
that's enough about
They
the
are
times.
what they are. Who knows? Anyway, enough sentiment.
Not so fast. Who is she in all this? Ask her who she is. She owes you an answer.
I want to know what you are. What are you?
I am the vilest of the vile. A traitor. A devourer of nations and infants. I am an ultra.
She raises the corner of her mouth, smirking, revealing a canine.
Wait, what's an ultra?
Liberal. It's a type of liberal. From the revolution. It's, not the moderate kind.
Since I know nothing, I don't understand.
Haven't you heard? I am a nether creature of the Forbidden Swamp. One of those who pushed the king under a shit wagon and betrayed the revolution.
Indeed.
We surrendered the nation to the financier pirates. No sane person identifies as an ultra-liberal anymore. Not in broad daylight. You're a man of the left. A true communard. Tell me.
No,
In her green eyes,
I
you
don't
see a
really
mixture
care.
of truth and self-satire. Decades of guilt and pride.
Are you repulsed? I don't care.
A fitting punishment. To be forgotten, if not forgiven. Save a prayer for us in our chateaus on
Oh, I
Azon
will.
and in Stella Maris. When the dust settled, the Liberals were the only ones left to clean up the mess. By virtue of their survival, they
Well,
were handed
maybe
enormous
would you
power
have
to
done
shape
something
the future.
differently?
With due respect to our overlords, the eternal caretaker government that keeps Martinaise a monument to the efficacy, I would not have relinquished sovereignty to the coalition. Not here in Martinaise, and not in the Stella Maris or Delta Beachheads either. If not,
She realizes her small, cold fists are clenched. She loosens them.
then for my daughters.
Indeed.
We had an obligation to defend our sovereignty. We should have burned the whole Isola down rather than let
You
them...
have daughters.
Yes. Whatever else I am, I'm also a mother and a wife.
Well, I can't
Now,
do any
we
of
return
these,
to reality.
so
Glad to have been of
that's
assistance.
fine.
The little that I know.
What can you tell
Quite
me
a few
about
things,
this?
I'm afraid. The information I'm to share with you includes sensitive trade secrets. For the sake of my employer, I have to ask for your names and badge numbers.
Well, that's
Of
bad.
course, ma'am. We should have introduced ourselves. I am Lieutenant Kitsuragi from Precinct 57.
Kitsuragi.
And this is my colleague from Precinct 41. I'm afraid he doesn't have his badge at the moment. I hope mine will suffice.
How curious. Why is that, Detective?
Remember what my partner told you? I'd recently suffered from an unusual medical episode? My lost badge is related to it.
See. So, are you saying you lost your badge during the course of this episode?
Yes.
I can't hear you, darling. Speak up, please.
I could have eaten it for all I know. I don't remember anything. This world, this city, nothing.
Oh dear. I suppose this does explain some of the more curious turns in our conversation.
I imagine it would.
She must have been suspecting something for a while now.
Well, she's not stupid, so I imagine that's true.
As I said, ma'am, his technique may be very unconventional, but he is an officer of the RCM.
At the very least.
Of course, I sympathize. But I'm afraid I simply can't share anything more
Of
until I...
course.
She's a
not.
professional negotiator. She should be open to some sort of mutually beneficial arrangement.
I'll
Of
find it
course.
somehow.
But before we do, officers, let me be perfectly clear. The situation is extremely volatile. The sooner we can speak
I'd
about this
love
pension
to
business,
find
the
that
better
thing.
for all of us.
Okay,
Of course,
that's
Detective.
fine for now.
Take care.
I don't really want to go through any more of those at the moment. Who? Me?
Yes, you. Word on the street is you're ready to start building communism again.
Again?
Yes, you're ready to start building communism again. You've built it before. They've built it before. Hasn't really worked out yet. But neither has love. Should we just stop building love, too?
Can't argue with that.
So, what about all that communism you've promised to build? Word on the street is you've woken up from 1,000 years of slumber, promising to erect a version of communism many times greater than any attempted
No,
before.
it's just yammering
Is
out
that
of...
true? You keep saying things like, down with the bourgeoisie.
I do?
Eat the rich. Sodomize the landowners. Impale all people.
No,
who
I
have
haven't
more than
said
25
anything
real in
like
their
that.
pocket. Literally murder all human beings, regardless of their political beliefs. That kind of
Really?
stuff.
Huh.
Okay, not in so many words, but don't deny it. You're about to rip off that mask of social democracy and reveal
No,
the
I'm
monstrous
not going to
seven-eyed
let you
lamb
talk
of
me
global
into this.
communism that
I'm
will
not going to
devour
let you-
and masticate mankind.
I'm not going to let you push me into
Everyone
something
can see
like
that.
this.
So tell me, do you have any questions before we fire up the big communism builder? Or do we get right down to it?
I am not going to build communism. I do not care. I was just trying to rile up what's-her-face.
Very well. I guess no one will build communism then. Tell the working man no
Nope.
objections. It's mathematically impossible to achieve a
There you go.
classless society.
Everybody knows
Anyone?
this.
Anyone else?
Nope,
There's no one.
there's no one.
There's no one. Okay then. Lie down and let the water carry you downstream.
Goodbye, communism. Now, what's this one?
Lonesome.
Oh.
Long way home. Here we go. Home
Okay,
awaits.
solutions.
Walk past Station 41 and through the market, past the Boogie Street spearhead to the other side of the lake, the frozen eye
Oh.
at the center of the district. Then, past the
Oh.
video rental store on the corner. There, at the end of a street lined with pine
Oh.
trees, a small house no larger than a matchbox. 11 Voyager
Oh.
Road. You no longer live there. Those times are gone.
Memories.
And so are those people. Why did you come here? Why are you still here? And where's the dealer? You have to get back to work. That's all you have now.
That's horrific and sad. Did I get anything from that? Okay. I don't have... It's a 3% chance.
You're back. Good. What can I help you with?
That's information that I do not have at the moment, so let's...
A sturdy metal door guards the southwest
Okay.
entrance to the
I don't
apartment.
care enough like that. I just wanted to see what it was. Let's see if this changes now that we've talked to Joyce. And by
Hello
this,
again,
I mean...
officers. Have you come to admire my mural?
Nothing changed.
I ain't no snitch.
Yeah, it
Fix
was just to check to see.
there is a short...
We weren't put on this earth.
Yeah, goodbye. Okay. Well, nobody's gonna let me in, so let's head back, get close to that area where we're going to... Oh, it's this way. We'll get into the clearing, you know, the courtyard, and we're gonna do something about that body. This is quite the run. However, this is a task even my aging alcoholic body can handle. Actually, when we return next time, I'm going to ask Kuno about the drugs in the shack, though I think that's a very bad idea. And then we're going to take the body down and we're going to continue from there. Thank you very, very much for coming along with me on this journey of exploration. It is greatly appreciated. I enjoy games, and this is one of a type that I've never really played before. I've usually just done the action-y stuff. So this has been fun, cool. I have laughed, I have cried. It has been awesome. We're going to continue. So, until we meet again, you take care. Have a great day today. I will see you on the flip side, and that is indeed a very good thing.